Hey everyone, I'm Bill. I'm with Cali Moto TV. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garage where we have a special guest, the one and only Dave Moss. If you guys aren't following him, I always tell you guys, you got to follow Dave Moss. We'll make sure we link him down in the description below. But Dave is here on a special house call. I always appreciate you coming out.
You're welcome.
If you guys haven't seen, he was here for the 2020 BMW S1000 that I had for 2 weeks. And today he's here not only doing a house call for Bogna's 2018 S1000R, but for the brand new Ducati Streetfighter. And these bikes, you know, right? So you're comfortable with these bikes pretty much. Hopefully.
This should be no different realistically to the V4 S, which we both talked about. I'm going to know right away if you have the upgraded suspension in the front, which will be reminiscent to the Ahhh.
Okay.
Because we'll be able to measure for sag and where the settings are on Rebound specifically.
Okay.
And how much damping we need for compression.
Got it.
Because in the S forks you needed to run basically 1-2 maximum for the front end, and the back needed to be -4.
Okay.
So at that point the bike, instead of this, went to there and was just
and that's like the 2017 2018,
right?
2017 to 19.
Correct.
Now 2020, and me and you talked about this. We've done some the frame change with the V4R and the ergonomics of this. So we're gonna see how much this really is of a 2020 V4 S bike.
Yeah. The R-frame's totally different, so the handling of the bike is going to be significantly better, more stable.
Okay.
Fork geometry is actually already different in that the front end is marginally higher because there's a little less gold showing here.
Okay.
On the first observation.
Yep.
So that's an interesting change in raising the front end for more stability, but as a street bike versus an attack weapon, that makes a little more sense to put the front higher. So the first thing we're going to check is static sag.
All right.
So you'll stay there with the camera. Now we've got to compress the back of the bike, and usually on the previous gens we had 0 static sag, and we have none again. So there's the first part. The other piece is with the spring. Until we get the technical bulletin, we don't know if this spring is going to be the same rate as the old V4S.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting to see. With the newer version, if the horsepower curves are slightly different, this may be a softer spring, but we'll see once the documentation comes out. So we can see how many threads are showing here.
Yep.
We're going to reduce that count by a total of 4.
Okay.
So this ring's going to come up. We're going to decrease these number of threads by 4, reset it, check static sag.
Okay.
Because, as with everything we do for the first time, it's a complete unknown. So we have to go through the validation phase because we just don't have all the technical data to make assumptions from.
Yep. Now this is your first Streetfighter.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're kind of pioneering here.
Oh, we're totally pioneering.
But it's you know, and I always tell people, you know, I always told people at the track, you know, I'm a big firm believer. Dave, if you don't, I think I mentioned this to you last time. He set up that GSX-R 1000 when I first got it in 2007, and it was the first time I ever had suspension ever set up professionally by Dave, and it changed my world. It's what I did say this morning that levers are probably one of the best mods you can get. Yep. But I will tell you, getting your suspension done is the best bang for your buck because, you know, at the track, $50 pretty much all day, right? So if you go to the track, but Dave does stuff like he does cycle gear bike nights in Sacramento and stuff like that. So if you see a suspension guy, it's worth I've seen from $30 to $100. It's worth every penny. Even if it's $100 to get your bike first set up, it's the best thing ever. So sorry, I just
no, and you're right because it has to include ergonomics.
Yeah.
Because this bike is sold all over the world as is.
Right.
So if you consider the Asian race, they're generally smaller and lighter. If you consider Northern Europeans, they're somewhat taller, somewhat heavier. Then you go to Pacific Islanders who are taller and heavier and bigger and wider.
Yeah. So quick question, because I know the BMW, the S1000, it's really set up for almost a 6 foot, 200-pound rider. Originally, that was kind of the idea. And then, of course, a GSX-R 1000 set up for like a 5'7", 140-pound rider. Do we know what this is?
So, this bike is literally secret bank account and joint account. Because the back of this bike is such a mismatch with the V4 S.
Okay.
That this is solid as a rock because of the torque and horsepower that it puts out.
Yep.
The original complaint with this was no matter what you try and do with a decent rider,
Yep.
especially if you go to the track, with everything on maximum, it bottoms the front and it's out of control.
Okay.
So with Shivs, when he first got his, we changed the forecoil out. We put 10 weight in. We made the forecoil level 150 millimeters.
Okay.
And he immediately dropped 6 seconds.
But he's railing on the track like he's
riding.
he's a pretty decent rider. So
He was fearful of the front end.
yeah.
With that oil change and oil height change in level, now he could brake within his comfort zone.
Yep.
And that's where the time disappeared.
Yep.
Was braking and corner entry.
Love it.
Now that's when he first got the bike and really didn't know it at all.
Yep.
So it was that intimidating when he first rode it that
Yep.
it set him back tremendously, simply because you couldn't brake hard because of the bottom.
Yep.
And at the racetrack, that's very fearful. For
Right.
me, seeing that, knowing that, that makes it even more important to, with bikes like this, get that front end adjusted for the road, because you never know what's going to come out in front of you, and the last thing you want to do is bottom the forks and lift the wrist in synchronization, because you've got to let go of the brake.
Yep.
So we will see pretty quickly here, just by pushing on the front end,
Okay.
exactly where we're at, but the rear shows that it is extremely
You kind of
similar.
know what's going on.
Yes.
All right.
So
let's get into it. And knowledge, you guys, knowledge. That's what it's all about, and that's why I really wanted to share this with you. I'm going to squeeze over here. I really wanted to share this with you guys because Dave knows it. So I know lighting is pretty tough right now. So
yeah, so if you want to come in on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to bring, this is your adjusting ring, that's the lock ring. So we're going to bring it up this amount by making the spring longer. To make it longer, we got to turn it that way.
yep.
So it will climb up the shock. So
Okay. Which makes
Olin's
sense.
tool has push and pull. So when you buy an Olin's, you get to go both directions. So if somewhere's tight and you go in this way, you can always reverse and go this way.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
So that particular tool is a godsend from Olin's. It's really great for their shocks.
Okay.
So we're going to back this off. And because it's brand new, it's nice and fresh because there's no dirt and debris.
There's no debris and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this will turn easily.
So what are we doing? Are we lifting the back of the bike or
We are putting the back of the bike down.
down? Okay.
So for those that are here for the first time, static sag is something where the bike has to droop under its own weight and the rear doesn't. So is that doable? Well, we can ride anything in a straight line. But when you're leaning at speed, say 80 miles an hour, and the rear kicks over a bump, then because there's no static sag, the wheel wants to instantly extend away from you, and it forces your body forward to put more weight on the handlebars, which changes your line mid-corner instantaneously. So that can be extremely nerve-wracking. So what we've done is go 4 threads. There it is.
Okay.
Because that moved.
Yep.
Now we're going to check static sag and see if we have any. So ideal is 10 to 15 millimeters to start. And remember that this is being set up for build. This is not set up for 2-up. So compress. Now, can we lift? Yes.
Ah, look at that. So before, if you guys remember before, there was, when he lifted it, basically it just didn't lift at all.
Right.
Okay,
That's where
see?
the danger is. So
Knowledge.
if you were the pain in the bum kid that sends your friend home the fast way over the fence,
Yeah.
then that's all the payback you've earned
Yeah.
via karma. But we can adjust it. So When we hit that bump, the shock extends, but now we've got what we call static or free sag, or the bike under its own weight, and we have to put it into it by adjusting the lock ring. Now that that's tight, this ring will get snugged against the adjusting ring, so it can't move.
Okay.
So then we're done with what we call static sag, and especially as all the roads around here are not pristine.
Yes. We always talk about the California roads.
Yeah. At this point now, specific to that, we'll go ahead and snug this down, and it only needs to be snug, it's just a friction fit.
Yep.
And you will find where it snugs up there, and if you move it again, it's going to move both rings. So we're done.
Jesus.
That's it.
All right.
So the other part that's very hard on the old bikes, the shock was here, and you could see how much travel you were using.
Oh, that's right.
The shock now in this traditional plane,
that's right.
you have no way to get in there and see how much travel you're physically using. So there's just enough room for a little mirror on the front side here by the engine.
Okay.
To drop it down with a flashlight or a torch, and depending which country. So you can see down at the bottom to see how much travel you use, because our forks are already fully exposed. So that's the first part, is to make sure that what we've got here is safe for the passenger. Now a lot of times with both the Panigale and the V4s, they have zero static.
Okay.
Same with the 848 that went all the way through to the 959. So check static sag with a new bike or a new to you bike, and that's the very first adjustment you have to make for your own safety.
Perfect. All right, guys, so now we've kind of buttoned up the rear, and we're gonna get into the front. Now, Dave, I explained to Dave kind of what I was experiencing. Now, I experienced some stuff the other day when I was new and a little timid on the bike. Today, a much different feel because I was riding the bike a little bit more like I should be riding it. What I've ended up finding out is that where I'm at, if you don't mind, is we're riding in well, actually it's in, race mode. So I'm in race mode now. And the only thing I've changed on this is here we can go also here, let me change this real quick, is we can change the screen to be white so it's easier to see. So one of the, there we go.
Yep, much easier for the camera.
Yep. So one of the things that I was finding out today was when I would accelerate, the rear would come and the bike would turn real quick into the corner. You said oversteer, right?
So that's kind of, yeah, when you're going into the corner, you're anticipating a line, but it keeps turning.
Yep.
Which throws you instantly. And,
right.
Whoa. So that's oversteer.
Yep.
And that's both for motorcycles and cars. It's the same word.
Okay. So that was one of the major things. But and so the only thing I adjusted was the steering damper, which we want to try to. I like them stiff. I've said that in some of the videos. So outside of that, I know nothing about these back menus. So what we're gonna do is the race mode. I would like Dave to set up as more like full track almost, just a generalized track, because I do like good track suspension. And then the sport mode, we're going to bring more like almost what some people would almost be like at the track, but a very good almost race mode from here in the road mode. So we've kind of got the best of both worlds.
Right, exactly.
So
the other part is, because you have two controls here, you can see you're on DES dynamic.
Yes.
That will change when we come to the physical track settings. So we know you're in race mode at present, so we're going to get into the setting menu. We're in race, then we want to find DES, Ducati electronic suspension.
Okay.
Enter. Right now we're in dynamic suspension.
Okay.
So if you hit the button, you've got custom below it.
Okay.
We want to go in and change to give you those preferential settings.
Got it.
So you can compare apples to apples, factory dynamic versus your chosen dynamic.
So factory dynamic is active dynamic suspension.
Yep.
Ours custom obviously is custom. Okay, got it.
So at this point, first one you get is brake support, and then you get the picture of the diagram. So you can see the rear and the front.
Which is super helpful that they've done this. It actually almost made sense to me. And you know me, I don't know really suspension. So and it really gives you a good idea down here at the bottom, because it kind of gives you a good line to so.
And it does. And neutral corresponds to the middle. Now, because of the nature and speed of the motorcycle, if these forks are similar to the V4 S, for the road and aggressive, we would probably go +2. If we're talking about going to the track, we have to go to 4. And our maximum, as you can see, is 5. So you want pure track, so we're going 4, because we're going to do sport mode. So, entered, we have 4 registered on the clock. Now we're getting out of there. Now, front fork itself is already on +2 out of 5, so we're going to nudge that up again so that when you brake there's no shock picture look. The fork itself is unique, so we're going to bump that up to 3, so there's, as you brake, there's the initial support right there backed up further down the stroke by braking support. So that's what we want, is 3. We've confirmed 3, now we go back. So we saw how firm the shock was, and you liked how the shock rode. Now normally on the road and for aggressive we go -2 or -3. You're at +2 already. So think about the oversteer. If the shock is rock solid, it's going to force the front to continue to turn, right? So oversteer in a road or track situation is a very bad thing. Because the bike is then out of your control and doing what it wants, and you're responding to it. So this is unusual and this is different, so we're going to go to 0. Because then the bike's going to be much more neutral in its steering. Steering damping, you have it on 5.
And that's all it belongs.
And the other part of that then is we can't get any more out of it, so
And so just to confirm, 5 is as tight as possible, and then I think it goes down to -5, right? And then, so we've got it up all the way. So
now we continue on through the menu for acceleration. Now, again, you can see forks and shocks, so there's exchange of information backwards and forwards. +2 makes sense because it's being ridden aggressively. At the track, we ride even more aggressively, so we are going to go to +3. Because it's both, it's trying to keep the bike flat instead of the front coming up and you coming off the throttle.
Got it,
So a little more of that may help with the wheelie. So we want 3. Then we go on to our next piece. Now mid-corner is chassis balance, which is rebound damping. Because you're going faster through the corner, and this isn't a 125 2-stroke or a Ninja 300, there's a fair amount of weight, which is getting crushed with physics. I would say at +2, that's a very reasonable starting point, and I'm not going to change that based on what I learned in the previous model. And it would appear that things are a little different, so we'll stick with that default. And then we're done with the menu. So at that point...
So that's our custom, that's our setting
for you in race mode using the computer. Because it's dynamic. Now, that being said, we need to get back out all the way.
Now,
and we are going to go to sport mode and do it again.
So let me ask you. So let's say, hypothetically, I go to Thunderhill East tomorrow. I'll do okay in race in that custom mode?
Yes. Because the braking at Thunderhill West is nowhere near as substantial in duration and duress as it is at Sonoma or Thunderhill East. Usually for Thunderhill East, braking's less severe than it is at Sonoma. Because it stops up. So Lagoon is very similar to Thunderhill for brake setup. So now we're going to go into sport and make it just a hair different. So, sport... DES, we want custom, so brake support, we're going to put it to 2.
So that's almost where we were in the Ducati settings. So front fork, and we're still in dynamic, we just changed from race to sport. We haven't got it fixed yet. So we'll go positive
1.
Okay.
We'll go out, shock absorber, we're going to go -1.
Okay.
Steering damping.
Just crank it up to 5.
No, really?
Yeah, I want
sure?
it. I want it all the way.
5 it is. And we're out.
So this one didn't have, what didn't this have? This didn't have something.
Correct. Now,
What didn't it have?
T-shirt prize for those that spot what the difference are. Answers on a postcard.
Send a postcard to P.O. Box. Comment down below. Comment down below. What was it?
Should we let them answer that? Because...
Yeah, go back. You guys got to watch the video again.
Yeah. Because the part there is, there's a couple things missing. But is it 2? Is it 3? And more importantly, why is there a difference in parameters and getting more parameters in race mode than you do in sports?
Well,
that's pretty easy to figure out. So what do you think? So when you reply to the comments to the video, add that in as well.
All right.
Right. So now we are out and we've set up sport, slightly softer for, say, colder weather.
Yep.
So you have a choice of race dynamic being specifically track oriented. You can notch it off a tiny bit for sport and be happy. So we're going to get out of there. We're going to get out of here completely and go back to there.
Okay. So now we're in the main menu.
We're back to the screen. We're in setting and we're still in dynamic. So you can get into the setting menu, right?
Nope.
And go here.
Got it.
Because we need to get into suspension. And you can select that again, which will give you custom. And away you go with your custom settings.
Yep.
We, however, now are going to go up here. We're going to touch it once.
Fixed.
It's going to activate. You've got to activate fixed.
Okay.
And then what I put in here will work. So right now we're going to go scroll down to custom fixed.
Okay.
Now we get much more different changes, like me with my tools adjusting your bike for you on the hot pit wall.
Okay.
On very, very specific parameters rather than the ECU.
So now, so this is the fine tune.
Yeah.
This is all of the little clicks on the tops and the clicks on the bottom that you would have done with our
Suzuki.
BMW. Oh, the Suzuki.
And the
BMW S1
didn't have it.
The 15. 15. Yeah. I love that bike.
All right. So now let's go into front compression. Now it says there 6. Well, 6 out of what? A lot more than 5, eh?
Oh, Jesus.
So you have 32 adjustments. 1 being just the same as everything else, 1 being maximum. That's a big thing to understand, but we have 32 positive adjustments. So the other part is, do we go negative? Because all we saw was 6.
Is there a negative?
There is not.
Oh, no, there's not. Okay.
So 1 is maximum.
Okay.
6 in fixed is your, I'm going to ride this on the road and ride it hard. Okay. Now, previously, when it says front compression, it's showing the front fork only because compression is downstroke from braking.
Okay.
Now, in the originals, we had to use this in custom fixed in race. We had to have it at 1.
Okay.
And it still wasn't enough. Currently, we are in race mode, suspension,
6,
fixed, custom front. So this, because we're in race mode, we are going to go to 1.
And now, mind you, over here was the default was 6, so we're going from 6 to 1.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Now, front rebound is the fork bouncing up and down.
Okay.
Now, in the previous generation, with the default setting, it will bounce 3 times. So let's have a look and see what we've got now with this version. So go ahead, focus on the front fork, and let's see how many times it bounces. It doesn't. So there's something tremendously different in damping here.
So it literally goes down and up, and then that's it.
Right, so what we're going to do is go in the front rebound. We're at 10. I'm going to find the fail point.
Okay.
So let's go to 20. What we're doing is opening the tap.
Okay.
More flow equals more movement.
All right.
Now, fail.
Ah, yeah.
See it?
So it's about 1 or 2 almost,
So
right?
10 to 20's fail. So now let's go to 15 and see if 15 is still good. Because this is a brand new bike.
Yep.
So 15. Okay. Perfect. Alright. Now because I'm a very annoying perfectionist, let's go to 17. Does it fail on 17? Yes. Okay. Which you would expect there's going to be a 1-click or 1-number adjustment. So now we're going to go to 16. Pass. 16 pass, 17 fail. So for now, with brand new oil, with 16 on rebound, that front fork is massively different to the V4 S. Massively.
So
Much more similar to the V4R in terms of shims,
all right.
oil viscosity. So this is a huge, just visceral seeing, looking,
Yep.
huge positive change.
Perfect.
And we got the R frame, so I figured.
And we talked, and we, you know, I test rode the 2020 V4 S Panigale, and just the changes I could notice just by a quick test ride was tremendous. It was so much more, and that's what Ducati says, is that the Panigale is refined, and this has the refinements.
Yeah, the weak link was the forks.
You got me excited now.
So,
all right.
on the rear shock, we had to go to 16 to make it move. So now, let's
right.
see how much the rear wheel moves in here at the stock setting of 6. That's a lot of movement,
Okay, yeah.
right? So, that doesn't mean when you ride, it's just going to collapse and run wide and do manic wheelies.
Yep.
So, I'm reefing on that to make it work. If I do it like I would be riding down a road, it's not moving a whole lot, is it?
Right.
So I'm going to change this from 6 to 10 because we're still looking at racetrack here, because we're in race settings. So we're going to go just marginally softer. So it's only 4 on the numeric scale, but we could see a big difference on rebound numerically.
Okay.
So that makes sense to me to do that. Now, rear rebound is the rising rate. You are set on factory at 10. So let's see how rebound physically looks. How many miles you got on it now?
285.
Okay. So that looks smooth. It also looks very slow. Because there's mileage on it, we're going to check the tire because tires can't lie. This edge already in just almost 300 miles has completely got rounded off.
Yep.
And if you run your finger this way, that back edge is already significantly taller than that.
Oh, wow.
So, we had a massively overstiff spring, right?
In 280 miles.
That has already damaged the tire by taking this lower than this. So, I'm quite happy to leave rebound where it is at 10.
Okay.
Simply because we took a lot of tension off the spring, which was trying to jack it apart. So 10, if that damage is minimized, it will mean that the setting we have is actually correct. Now, Intuition, Voodoo, Pixie Dust.
The Dave Moss. Okay.
I'm going to go to 12. Because I think we took enough tension off the spring, and that visually is so slow coming up, and the oil is new, so the cold to hot viscosity difference isn't going to be huge.
Okay.
That at that point, going a little off, especially with the tension being removed, makes total sense to me, so I'm going to go to 12. Now we can, in 200 miles, reread the tire, and then provide an update, and see where we're at.
All right.
So that takes care of that. Steering damper. Oh, now don't get too ruined with this.
I don't even
You're up
wanna
to
watch.
19 from 5.
Okay.
So we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the fork rebound.
Okay.
I want 19. Now, you know how it felt.
Okay.
So, we're going to trade.
All right.
You are going to hold that.
All right. And am I getting on it?
Nope.
Okay.
You're going to stand by the side.
All right.
Just move it side to side.
Okay.
And that's maximum. Now, compared to the setting you had when you rode, is it more intense?
Yes.
Okay.
It's way stiffer.
So, the part there is now go ahead and sit on it.
Okay.
And the whole point of a steering damper is if you're slightly off angle, that the wheel's going to snap. So just hold the grips and quickly but violently move it about 1/3 of your total radius on the. So go left first and then go right.
Ah.
Because that's where it's supposed to work.
So it's almost taking it back to center. Automatically.
Well, we'll see. You are naturally doing that because we're watching the tension in your forearms.
Am I?
Yeah, you're doing it.
Well.
So the goal now is take your hands off.
Okay.
Now put your left hand against the bar, flat. Now, just push gently.
Okay.
How much resistance is there?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay, change. All right, now go back to your left
Oh,
hand.
I'm sorry.
Go back to your left hand. Now, before you push,
Okay.
I want you to put the pressure on it.
Okay.
Keep your balance, but push hard forward. Hard. Bang. Not thump it, but push.
Oh.
See how much resistance is there?
No, there's a lot. It's.
So, do you want it on maximum?
I can actually feel as I'm pushing that it starts to like right there. I almost can't push it anymore.
So there's your axis, right? A Scott steering damper works on the axis where the wheel will flick and controls it. If you go outside of it...
Now I'm happy with this thing.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the part there will be to reduce your number,
Okay.
right? And bring it down by 7 to give yourself some leeway.
So, 12? Let's say 12?
Yeah. And you can easily pull over and then ramp it up to 16. Then you can ramp it up again, but you're deliberately picking the back roads here behind Milk Farm,
Wow, that's
right?
crazy.
For deflection.
Yep.
Now you're dialing the steering damper in for the way you ride and the roads you ride on, so you find the right number, just like we find the right number for Rebound.
This bike is blowing me away.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's so easy to get into it.
All right, so we're gonna leave it at 12
for now. And again, when you do your next video, you're going to report back on what you found, and the video is only going to be about the steering damper and
So
what you dialed it into.
Steering damper.
Well, the part there is you're going to get video of the road,
Yep.
and that video is going to show your hands.
Okay.
And if your hands are moving side to side a lot,
Yep.
that's a problem, right?
Right.
So then we might up it. Now, if that hand-to-hand, side-to-side gets even worse, you went way, way, way too far.
Now, what do you remember what it was at?
10.
It was at 10. So we cranked it up a teeny bit.
Yeah.
Okay. But a teeny bit seemed like it made a big difference.
Didn't the forks, didn't the shock.
Yeah.
Let's go with
Baby
what
steps.
is progressively becoming truthful
All right.
in terms of the information we're finding out as we go through the bike. Okay.
All right.
Trade up.
Trade up.
Okay.
So stoked. All right.
All right, so we're going with 12. We're going to get out of there.
Yep.
We have nothing left in race.
Okay.
So we're going to go all the way back out.
And that's our fixed raced.
Yes.
Okay.
So you will compare race dynamic to race fixed.
Okay.
So now we're going to go into sport. We're going to go to fixed in sport. So if you're going to ride, have fun,
Yep.
ride together,
Yep.
then we'll just take the edge
He
off.
pointed to Bogner.
Right? We're going to take the edge off.
Okay.
So now compression, we don't need it quite so firm.
Okay.
So we'll go to 10.
Okay.
Now we'll leverage what we learned on Rebound.
Okay.
17 was perfect.
Okay.
Oh, how interesting.
18. Wait, did it already know that? Oh, because it was already set there.
Maybe.
Okay.
So, let's go back in a Rebound. We know 17 was correct.
Okay.
Let's prove it.
All right.
That's provable. Let's go to 18. It should fail. And it doesn't. So, it's not memorizing what we put in per mode.
Okay.
We still have to adjust it.
Okay.
So that was a very interesting coincidence.
That it was at 18 and we had put it at 17.
Right.
Okay.
So now, with sport mode, will 20 be the fail point?
Okay. So now we're looking for that bounce up and then back down. So so a little teeny bit there, right?
No.
No?
20's good.
So what we're looking is I'm watching here when it goes down and up if it comes back down, correct?
Correct.
All right.
So now we're at 26. Fail.
There you go.
All right, so 26 doesn't work. So now, because we know it's very fine increments, we'll go to 24. Fine.
So wild.
So, Rebound has to be tested. We tested it, so for in sport mode, 24 feels objectively correct.
Wild. Okay.
So, rear compression is 10, so we can back that away. So let's make that 16. And get out. Rear rebound. We're going to open that up. Oh, wrong way. Going to open that up to 14.
Okay.
And then steering damper. Where do you, sir, want your steering damper?
I still like it. I still like it, the stiffness, regardless.
So let's go to 15
Okay.
and try that. Okay. So, actually, no. No. Let's try 6.
Oh, that's loosey-goosey, huh?
Yeah, that is. So, if that's the case, what's it going to be on 1? Good God. Oy.
0.
Alright, so,
All right, so
moving
6,
on.
So 6 to 1 that's crazy.
But we know one click makes a huge adjustment, so
Okay.
now let's go to 3.
Okay.
And that's taking resistance. You can see the definition in my forearms trying to move it.
Yep. Yep.
So, in that case, let's leave it at 3 and
Okay.
you can try it at 1.
Okay. I'm gonna try it at 1.
Now, we're out. We want to go back, and we want it back in dynamic. So we're going to select dynamic, and we're into it, which means that when we go back here and go out, oop, wrong way, down the bottom,
Back
and out again, and exit. We're
So
still in
we're-
DES dynamic.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people get really confused how to do this.
Okay.
So, race mode in. We want race. We've got to go to suspension. There it is. Now, if we want to move to fixed, you scroll up and one time you press.
Okay.
And you press activate. You hear it click,
Yes, I did.
then we go back. Go back.
So now it's on what you just said to put it on.
But you've
So
got
the
to make
dynamic.
sure.
So the dynamic is really
See it? DSF.
DESF. There we go. Now, one question though, can I?
Nope.
Okay. So my question was going to be, can I? Because when we go to ABS 2,
You can
I
do
can go
that all
select
day.
and.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
But suspension, you'd get here.
Okay.
And-
Oh, it won't even let me change. It won't let me change any. Oh, there it goes. But
Yeah. So there's
Okay.
only certain parameters you can
Got it.
switch
All right,
here.
sorry.
No, it's fine. There's only certain parameters you can switch here on the dash with the right control. So you've got to learn what you can and cannot adjust.
I'm still learning.
But DSF and DSD
Okay.
can only be done here.
All right. So let me clarify again. Dynamic is DFD is letting Ducati basically computer, but you've set that up anyways, right?
Yes.
So, and then when we go to the track, then we're fixed, right? And
We're
then,
going to test both.
okay, so we're going to test both of them. Got it.
So now, we went ahead and moved it back.
DSD. Got it.
So now, instead of me doing this in about 15 seconds, this 15-minute video.
Yeah, so if you guys...
An exercise in patience.
So let me tell you guys, if you guys are still here, thank you for sticking around because I know it's a long video, but suspension isn't an overnight thing. And I've been riding for 25 years and I still don't understand it. I have no clue half of what he said. I always laugh. I know that he probably laughs at me because he's been doing my suspension for years.
With you, not at you.
So thank you guys for sticking around. But Dave, this is going to help so many people just understanding how a bike feels, how their bike feels, and it doesn't matter if it's the Ducati Streetfighter or if it's the BMW S1000 or if it's whatever it is. It kind of doesn't matter, right?
No. Not at all.
Your bike, if it's going to feel one way or the other, you can always get a feel. And it always trips me out because he always looks at my tires. He always looks at my tires. And I'm like, you know, I know he's probably sitting here going, what's up with this little section right here, right? But
no.
well, look at the other side. Look at the other side. I think I got it.
Doesn't matter. So
it's
where you're on the gas is here,
yep,
up.
Yep. And I always talk about that's where they're riding. That's where we're riding, right?
Yeah, that's what matters. Now this thin light gray band,
yep,
is where you're coasting.
Okay.
And the thick dark band on the outside is actually tire flex.
Okay.
So as you decelerate all the controls in the front, the tire flex is this little black band here with all the upside end. And then when it goes flat black, that's where you are now assuming control of the motorcycle with enough positive throttle to turn the tone to flat black. Tires can't lie because they're an immediate visual representation of how you're riding the bike.
But it's
in 4 laps you could change that entire read 100%.
Yeah. And I've been at track days before and you've looked at my tire and you've literally said, I mean, the first thing you did was you look at the tire and you're like, oh, and it's that it was as simple as that. And today again, I mean, with 200 and something tires and he's like, you're already destroying your tire with, and I can feel it. I mean, that's crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy what your bike can tell to somebody like Dave. That's why this is so important to, if you guys are local, you guys have to hit up Dave because you're around. I know you travel a lot. You've been traveling a lot, huh?
I was surprised I made it back into the country from Australia and New Zealand. So.
I can't thank you enough, Dave, for making another house call. And babe, don't worry, he got you set up over here too. But
yeah, you're all good there.
Make sure you have somebody look at your suspension, you guys. If you're not local and you can't have Dave look at it, have somebody look at it. And you've got some. And for the people that are savvy to this, you have a ton. He has a ton of YouTube videos.
Over 1,000.
I watch some of his stuff. He's got a bigger channel than I do, so that's why I don't watch his stuff.
Yeah, but that's time served. That's 20 years of videos.
20 years of videos. But you can go back and he does all kinds of videos and all kinds of different bikes and he sets things up. And so I know it's long. I know this is a long one. And if you guys are still here, thank you. But you guys have to get your suspension set up.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Whatever.
Do you like my shirt?
Yeah.
All right, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. We've got more coming. I've got to report back to Dave about how this is, so make sure you guys stay tuned. But you Street Fighter guys, take note. And Panigale guys, right? 2020 Street Fighters, Panigales, take note. This is a very good walkthrough on what you guys need to be doing for your suspension. So comment down below. I'll relay them to Dave. I'll try to answer all your questions, but smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. Till next video. We'll see you then. Thanks, guys.
Bye.